Did you know that there is one thing that can be just as powerful, if not more powerful, than exercise for osteoarthritis joint pain relief? We are all out there searching for the best ways to avoid surgery, to avoid more medications, but still get the same joint pain relief. And here it is. It's something that we do almost all day long. It is eating. So food can play a huge role in joint pain relief. And so today I want to talk about the top 10 anti-inflammatory foods that you can include in your daily diet to decrease the inflammatory cells and thus decreasing your arthritis pain, because those two are very directly correlated. The more inflammation we have, the higher pain levels we will experience. Now, these top 10 foods are just some suggestions and they may not work for everyone, but if you can truly adopt at least 4 to 5 of these foods, you should see a significant pain difference in your joint pain. My name's Alyssa and I'm a doctor of physical therapy and founder of Keep the Adventure Alive, where we do just that, keep your adventure alive despite arthritis. And so let's go ahead and get started right away with these top 10. Again, not in any particular order of best to worst, but these are all going to be anti-inflammatory. Here we go. So number 1 is fish. So fish are high in omega-3 fatty acids, and these are tied to increasing anti-inflammatory powers and decreasing those inflammatory cells. This is why you hear some people are taking fish oil. So fish oil is a supplement people typically take to get those omega-3 fatty acids. But it's always better to get your minerals and vitamins from food versus a supplement. So if you like fish, especially salmon and fresh tuna, then these are great options for you. And it was actually found in a study, they compared people with joint pain finding relief either from medications, ibuprofen in particular, and fish oil or natural sources of omega-3s. And they were equally as effective, but ibuprofen comes with all of the risks of stomach ulcers and GI stuff and lots of other side effects that if you just eat fish or potentially take fish oil if it's appropriate for you, you could find equally as effective pain relief. So that's number 1 is fish. You want to try to get at least 2 servings of 3 to 4 ounces a week in order for you to have enough of those omega-3s to make a difference. So number 1, eating 2 to 3 servings of fish per week. Number 2 is yogurt. So yogurt contains probiotics, and probiotics can be very powerful for anti-inflammatory properties. So essentially those probiotics are going to be working to get some of those inflammatory cells cleared out of there, thus more pain relief. One of the things you want to be careful of with yogurt though is sometimes they have really high levels of sugars or added sugars. And so you want to be careful that's why I always usually direct people to Greek yogurt, but even some Greek yogurts can have high levels of added sugars. So when you look at the nutrition facts, always look at the contents of sugar, because if it is above 7 to 10 grams of sugar, then it might not be the best source for you, because added sugars can counteract that and actually increase inflammation. So be careful of the sugars. Even some that are containing up to like 24, 30 grams of sugar might not be getting that benefit. So I would say anywhere between 3 to 4 times a week, if you can incorporate some yogurt, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, it does not matter, but making sure that it is quality yogurt as well. So now we're looking at vegetables, brightly colored vegetables. So your yellows, greens, reds, peppers, onions, whatever it may be, all of these vegetables that carry that heavy pigmented color contain something called phytochemicals. Now, which chemicals, it sounds bad, but it's not. These phytochemicals are rich in antioxidants, and antioxidants are a great anti-inflammatory. These can work, again, clearing those inflammatory cells out and then bringing those good cells back in. These are great to have at least 4 to 5 times a week. And they recommend having at least 4 cups of vegetables. Now, that sounds like a lot, but when you say if you cut up a pepper or something like that, that can almost fill up 2 cups. And so if you can incorporate that into, again, breakfast, lunch, or dinner in order to get those benefits, that would be awesome. Especially, I know a lot of people have success when they have vegetables for a snack, whether it's peppers, onions, broccoli, whatever it may be, dipping it into, being careful it's not like a heavy ranch or something like that, but maybe a hummus or a healthier alternative could be a great way to get vegetables into your diet. Number 4 is extra virgin olive oil. Now, it has been shown that olive oil can actually lower blood pressure. It can lower LDL, or the bad cholesterol, and it can be anti-inflammatory. Extra virgin olive oil is something that usually we cook with, we saute, we put on potatoes, we put on things when we are cooking them. And olive oil, though, some of it can be beneficial and some of it not. That's why it's particular that it has to be extra virgin olive oil, because this means that it's not as processed. Other olive oils can go through an extensive process that pulls all of the good things out of it and leaves us with a product that might not be so beneficial. But getting this extra virgin, it tastes exactly the same. You probably wouldn't even know the difference. It may be a few dollars more, but it can bring you so much more benefit. So I would highly recommend next time you're cooking, instead of using butter, try to use olive oil, especially when you're sauteing vegetables, cooking meat, whatever it may be. Making that simple switch to that extra virgin could make a difference. All right, so number 5 is green tea. So green tea can be a powerful way to decrease inflammation, especially if you're looking for something other than water to drink. Now, you do obviously still need water during the day, but a lot of times it's a good thing to have something taste a little bit different than water. But you have to be careful with this, because there are some processed things, especially through Lipton and things like that, that make a green tea but load it with sugar. And so you want to make sure that it is a natural source of green tea and not a processed drink that's going to give you a bunch of added sugar. So just always be careful when you're looking at some green tea options to just peek at the nutrition facts and make sure there's not a high level of sugar before you drink it. So number 6 is beans. So beans, like garbanzo beans, black beans, lentils, they are a great source of fiber. And fiber really helps our diet because it doesn't spike our insulin. So when we eat some carbohydrates, a lot of times like sugary things, or there are some others, but they're called high glycemic index. And what they do is they spike our insulin, and then it slowly comes back down and spikes it again. And when our insulin is spiked like that, we go into a fat storing phase. So one of the things that fiber is good for is that it doesn't spike our insulin so much. It's more of a gradual up and down, so we don't spend as much time in that fat storing stage. So these beans are great sources of fiber and a great addition to a side dish for dinner. I usually like to mix in some black beans with taco meat and things like that. But there are easy ways that you can bring these beans into your diet, and most of them can actually bring some protein with them, which is always good. So garbanzo beans, lentils, and black beans are 3 of the most quality sources. Then you get into some refried beans and things like that, where we get a little bit more processed. So sticking with those 3 will be a great way to start to decrease that joint pain, anywhere between 1 to 2 days a week on this one, and getting about half a cup to a cup of that one. So seeing if you can just start to kind of incorporate that into 1 or 2 meals a week would be sufficient. We're on to number 7, which is dark green leafy vegetables. So we're talking your kale, your spinach, some broccolis, even some cabbages are really great because they are high in magnesium. And it's actually been found that people that are deficient in magnesium have higher levels of inflammation. And so if we can increase that magnesium level, then we can decrease some of that inflammation. Now, whether you want to supplement with magnesium, I would always speak to your doctor before you start taking any sort of supplement. But it's like I said in the beginning, it's always better to get these vitamins and minerals from actual food, because those are going to be the most quality. When you start to get into supplements, some of them pull out some of the good stuff, some of them are processed, and so it's always better if we can get them from actual food. So dark green leafy vegetables, I would say as often as you can eat them. Whether you make them into a salad, you cook them down, whatever it is, however you can incorporate that into your daily life. I know for me, I really love having spinach salads where you put some other proteins and some beans even and some other things onto that salad, just being careful of that dressing, making sure it's not high in added sugars and high in saturated fats. Olive oil will make a great salad dressing if that's with some salt and pepper or whatever you like. Keeping an open mind about that kind of stuff and trying some of these things would actually be really good and can actually make your joints so much happier. All right, so number 8. It comes with a little bit of controversy, but we are talking about something that has gotten a bad rap, especially with arthritis the past couple of decades, but now is emerging as something that could actually help with diabetes, gout, and inflammation, and that is coffee. So coffee can help with some of those things and does have some health benefits, especially when black. When we start to add some sugar and some creamers and all that, we start to kind of lose some of those benefits. But having a cup of coffee in the morning, black, might actually help your joint pain. One of the things to keep in mind though is that coffee can cause dehydration. And so it's one of those things, a stimulant can cause dehydration. And so you want to make sure that in accordance with coffee, you are having water as well, because dehydration can work against you, especially with joint pain. One of the things I always do is I just get a small glass of water, 8 ounces or so, or get a bigger glass and just fill it halfway. Drink that before you drink your coffee, and then drink one immediately after. So that can kind of help negate some of those effects of that stimulant on dehydration. So being careful. Now, this is not saying, drink 2 pots of coffee, but everything in moderation. And so a moderation of coffee can actually be beneficial. Now we are on number 9. So number 9 is nuts and seeds. So nuts and seeds can be extremely beneficial because they pack a powerful punch with B6. If we are deficient in vitamin B6, then that drives our inflammation up. And they found that people do have higher levels of inflammation when they are deficient in vitamin B6. Now, these nuts and seeds can be very powerful, especially health-wise as well, carrying lots of healthy fats. Now, one of the things to be careful of is not having too many. So almonds, walnuts, pistachios are great sources of this vitamin B6 and these healthy fats, but having only about a handful at a time. When we start to get more than that, like I know pistachios can be really good, but if you sit there and eat half a bag of pistachios, you're not necessarily getting the effects that we want. So just a handful at a time can really make a difference. They make great snacks throughout the day, even just a handful of almonds throughout the day. Sometimes you can even get them flavored where they don't really carry a lot of other unhealthy things when you add flavor to them. So that might be one way that you can help. Instead of having, raw almonds, you can have a little bit of flavor too. Okay, so for number 10, we are talking about citrus fruits. Citrus is also one of those ones that has gotten a bad rap for a while about driving up inflammation, but it turns out grapefruits, limes, and oranges can actually have high antioxidants that can actually help drive down inflammation. You want to be careful of grapefruits as they can act on some statins or medications that you take for cholesterol and decrease the effectiveness of that. So if you're on a cholesterol medication, you could maybe talk to your doctor about if grapefruit can affect that or impact that. But having at least, 1, 2, 3 a week can really make a difference. I used to always eat grapefruits in the morning. Again, I know a lot of people like to put sugar on them and things like that, so we do want to try to stay away from that. But they can actually serve as a good dessert. If you're one of those people that really likes to have something sweet after dinner or something sweet after a meal, this can be a good way because it does pack that sweetness, but without all of the added sugars and things. These are natural sugars from fruit, so they can be beneficial, curb that sugar craving, but also keep inflammation in check. So these top 10 foods are a great way to start incorporating them into your life. Now, going and trying to incorporate all 10 may not be the best idea. So going and trying to pick 4, 5 of these and incorporate them into your daily life. Now, you might find you're already eating some of these, but it might not be enough. If we have maybe a green leafy vegetable once a week, that might not be enough to get the benefits. So with all of the prescribed nutrients and amounts that we need, we have to make sure that we are getting an adequate amount, or else we won't see the impacts that we're looking for. So go ahead and pick 4 or 5 of these and start incorporating them into your daily life and see how much of an impact it makes on your joint pain. Again, everyone is different, but this is one of the ways that you can naturally help to decrease that joint pain without adding more medications to your list or without going through the risks of surgery. If you can find benefit from this, that can be huge to keeping your adventure alive. So give these 4 or 5 I'm on a track of exercises. Give these 4 or 5 types of foods a try and see if it can truly make a difference. You really can do this, and it really can pay off. If you found this video helpful, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel so you can get updates when I release new videos. By subscribing to the channel, that is how we grow and continue to spread our message. I would really appreciate also a comment. If you did try this, if you found a food that you had no idea helped with inflammation, or you actually found success with adding these foods into decreasing your inflammation, let me know below in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Again, my name's Alyssa with Keep the Adventure Alive.